Yo, what is going on, guys? TymeStopper here, coming back at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the new event that just dropped in the community Discord for Raid, talking about how you can get some past fusion fragments to hopefully finish up some fusions and what you're going to need to do in order to get those fragments. So let's jump into the video. Okay, guys, first and foremost, there was just a post released over on the community forums by Green Knight. I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here on the screen while we read through it together. So he talks in the beginning about something weird is going on. They're going to list out some stuff. They, in the past couple of days, they put out some posts about different Halloween contests and stuff like that. And of course, everyone has been anticipating a huge Halloween fusion. Spoiler alert, no big news on it yet. But speaking of fusions, we do have some, what I think is actually a pretty solid idea, to be honest with you. It says, expect this October to be filled with surprises, contests, and events of all kinds. A couple of days ago, we published a list of upcoming Halloween contests, and now we want to shed some light on other activities that are coming to Teleria. Check out the schedule below of the in-game tournaments where you're going to be able to collect missing fragments of champions from previous fusion events. So from October 22nd to 23rd, you'll be able to get fragments of Ruel the Huntmaster, Versulf the Grim, and Rorik Wormbane in a special edition of the Dragon Tournament, where you'll only be able to use epic champions. And then on October 23rd through the 24th, you'll be able to get fragments of Kreela Witch Arm, Yoshi the Drunkard in a special Spider Tournament, where you're only going to be able to use champions from the Talarian Alliance. October 25th and 26th, you'll be able to get fragments of Iron Brago and Bergoth the Malformed in an extra hot Fire Knight tournament, where you'll only be able to use champions from the Corrupted Alliance. In October 27th and 28th, you'll be able to get fragments of drokgul the Gaunt and elegaius in a special edition of the Ice Golem tournament, where you'll only be able to use champions from the Galen Pact Alliance. Now, what are those things, right? So first off, the first one, obviously pretty straightforward, only use epic champions. Now with the other ones, you might be thinking to yourself, what are those? Well, pretty easy. All you actually have to do is go down to the index and you'll be able to see, usually we're used to looking at stuff in the index based off of factions, right? Bannerlords, High Elves, Sacred Order, Barbarians. But at the top of that, you can actually see that these four factions are what make up the Talarians. Just like the Ogre and Lizardmen, Skinwalkers, and Orcs make up the Galen. So the 23rd and 24th, where you're going to be able to do the Spider Tournament, you're only going to be able to use people from the Talarian Alliance. So basically Sacred Order, Barbarians, High Elves, and Bannerlords. Obviously, one of the easiest ways to kill the Spider is going to be through HP burn. So if you go over to Sacred Order, you've got your man Mordecai over here. If you don't have a Mordecai, it's definitely going to be a little more difficult. Doesn't mean that it's impossible to do. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see me do some videos basically on how we can make up some comps for these. If we get enough people wanting to see it, maybe I'll make up some comps for the different alliances for the different tournaments. That way you guys have some idea of, different things that you can use and stuff like that. And then of course on October 25th and 26th, you're going to have the Fire Knight tournament with guys from the Corrupted Alliance. So Corrupted is going to be your Demon Spawn, your Undead, your Dark Elves, and your Knight Rev. And then for the Ice Golem tournament, you're going to be stuck with the Galen Pact, the Ogre and Lizardmen, Skinwalkers, and Orcs. This is actually a really, really good idea. I got to be honest with you. Now, there are some things that give me a little bit of pause, and I'll cover those in a minute. But I do want to say that I think this is a fantastic idea. This is a perfect implementation of a way for people to get past fusion fragments for, maybe they need 5 or 10 fragments and they don't want to spend an arm and a leg to get them. But here's a way for you to go back and get them, and they can run these all the time. They've experimented with running some of these like special tournaments here and there, and they probably haven't gotten a whole lot of traction because one, the rewards have never been good in any of these, but two, they're super difficult for the most part. If you don't have some of the key champions, a lot of times you just can't do these. So this is actually a great way to implement this because obviously if you want to finish off a fragment, like if you go over to your fusions and you're like, okay, well, I might only need a couple fragments left of, Rorik, and you're like, well, I got 10 that I need to get. So yeah, let me go in and do this tournament or whatever. And you can get those 10 fragments. You're going to bust your tail to try to get those fragments, which of course makes sense because then you get a new legendary champion, or hey, maybe a dupe champion. Maybe you already did it, or maybe you pulled that champion and here you can get some extra fragments and get a dupe to help fill out your dupe system. But this is a great way to drive people to do those special tournaments, because I'm sure they've probably had some difficult times getting people to do them. I know in the past when these tournaments have popped up, I'll go in there and there'll literally be maybe 10 people in my entire bracket that even bothered to get points for them. I usually try to do them just because of that, even though the rewards usually aren't fantastic, but because no one else is doing them, it makes it pretty easy most of the time. But to me, this is an excellent way for them to implement this. They can run this all throughout the year if they want, you know, maybe one a month or something like that, catch up on fragments. Sure, it's not going to be get 50 fragments, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's a great way to implement this in my mind. Now, speaking of not getting 50 fragments, the only thing that kind of gives me a little bit of pause is how many fragments are they going to give you from it? My guess would be if they do it right, I would think you can probably get maybe maximum 20. The reason I say that is because in my mind, if they do this correctly, they would have like the one-time rewards that you normally get on a tournament, right? So if you go into a tournament, any old tournament, like let's champ training, right? You have these one-time milestone rewards. So ideally, they would have maybe 10 fragments available as a milestone reward in those tournaments. And on top of that, then they would have like the top 2 places get an extra 10 fragments, just like they do when we normally do like a fragment summons or something like that. That way people could ideally get up to 20 fragments in their bracket, but if they can't win their bracket, maybe they only get 10. But I think 20 is a good benchmark. I think expecting more than 20, that's just not going to happen. There's no way. I don't remember. I know back a while back, we had gotten some things where we were able to get extra fragments and stuff like that, but I don't remember how many it was. I don't think it was a whole lot to begin with, but I'm really, really hoping that they do like a milestone for 10 and maybe 10 for winning or first or second place, or hey, you know what? Maybe even get super nice and do 10 for first, second, and third. I mean, you know, let's be honest. First or second is rough. Third is rough in a lot of these, but you just never know how things are going to shake out. But I think that would be great. At the end of the day, I think this is an awesome implementation of this. It's a great way throughout the year for them to cycle out fragments. I know that some people are probably pretty bummed because this doesn't have some of like the S tier champions in it, if you will. Obviously, of the fragment fusions that are in there, Rorik was a pretty recent one. We've got versulf being a pretty recent one. Bergoth, I mean, I don't know why they would even throw him in there, to be quite honest with you. Yoshi's a pretty solid pickup. Elegaius, you know, a lot of people hate on Elegaius, but he actually got me through that level 21 faction wars because of his skill set. So I don't hate on him. Iron Brago, great pickup as a champion. Kreela would be a good. Drokgul, maybe not. Ruel the huntmaster. I mean, basically, they've put most of them in there if you look at this list. Now that I think about it, I mean, we don't have, none of these guys are eligible to be fused. Yeah, they literally put every single fusion that's in here in there. You know, they didn't put any like non-fragment fusions in there, obviously. And then they didn't put any of the special ones in there that you get from like Doom Tower or like the Yannicka from the shop or Drex from the bazaar. But they put pretty much everything else in there. So what do you guys think? I mean, are you excited about this? Is this something you're going to participate in? I mean, I already have all of these champions and I'm pretty far from getting a dupe. I think Rorik is the closest one I have. I felt like his fragments were super easy. I fused him and still have 40 extra fragments. That's how many fragments I got from him. So I don't see me going super hard, but you know, if they have some easy one-time rewards, I'll probably hop in and do them. Let me know. Are you guys going to go for these? Like, do you like this idea? Do you hate it? Do you wish they implemented it some other way? Personally, like I said, I think it's a great way for them to give out fragments and stuff like that without people having to spend a ton of money. But obviously everybody's going to be different as to what champions you have, how easy it's going to be and things like that. But like I said, let me know in the comments down below if you'd like me to try to, you know, come up with some comps for you guys and whatnot that we can use for these. I'll be happy to do that. But yeah, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. It's completely free. And of course, as always, until next time, be good.